Welcome back to the Pack You Run podcast. I am your host, Dan. The Patriots never are able to win in Miami, Mayotte.
And I am your co-host, AJ. For some reason today I've developed a stutter, La Gambina. I had a little princess shift today at work, and I feel like the entire day I was trying to finish sentences, could not do it, which really bodes well for a podcast. We're doing it live.
Anyways, how's your day? You had a baby shift.
Yeah, I had a little princess shift today. So we're recording midday on Thursday. We're already ahead of schedule, which is super nice.
Consistency, baby, consistency.
We're doing the thing already. Those New Year's resolutions, they're kicking in. We're living up to our promises, kind of.
Well, talk to us in April or March or February.
Give it a couple months, we'll let you down.
Yeah. Well, hopefully not.
But we are here. We are doing the thing, and yeah. How has your day been? What have you been?
Well, same sort of thing. I had a nice little baby shift. I was working the phones for my job, and yeah, nothing to really complain about. A lot of returns, unfortunately, because of something that will not be named. Who should not be named. Fair
enough. Yeah, it's getting rough out here in these streets.
Oh yes.
It is officially the slow season for my job. So trying to keep ourselves entertained and working. My buddy Rohan and I did spend a decent amount of this morning with Boy Meets World on one of the computers.
Nice.
That's the level that we've reached.
That's awesome. Love that show.
We're in season 5, which I think is arguably the best Feeney season. He's officially over everything.
Oh yes.
And I love sarcastic George Feeney. He is the GOAT.
Yes, he is. I feel like everyone wishes they had a teacher like Mr. Feeney.
I did have a teacher like Mr. Feeney, and unfortunately he's no longer with us, but I wonder if anybody that listens to this podcast remembers Mr. Rizzitano from Silver Lake Regional High School. He was an English yeah. See, this is what I'm talking about.
Ongoing struggles here.
He was an English teacher for many, many years, and he was very Feeney-like, if Feeney was a South Shore old Italian man that spent his weekends painting people's houses.
Nice.
Instead of gardening.
I mean, hey, we all have hobbies.
I only had him for half a year, and that one semester that I had with him, we didn't make it through. We were supposed to do like 3 or 4 books that first half of our junior year.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even make it through the first one because we would just we would sit down in class, and he would just sit down and be like, "All right, class, today I'm going to tell you about life." And he would just tell ridiculous stories and like parables, I guess would be the word. He was awesome. He was a real life Mr. Feeney.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was the man. Mr. Riz. He had nicknames for everybody too. I believe I was Agiferous Rex.
Jeez.
I have a lot of nicknames at work too, because everybody tries to put together like an A and a J, but nothing quite lives up to Agiferous Rex.
AJ stands for ass jerk.
Ass jerk has been thrown around. The new one is Almost Jesus.
You know what? If you grew out your hair, that could work.
Action Jackson.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Aunt Jemima was one that got me to giggle. My Jamaican name is Aaron Jamal.
Oh, come on.
That none of these are my doing. This is all people that I work with. And, credit where credit is due. It keeps me entertained. Makes the day go by faster when you can see the gears turning in their heads.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you need from a coworker.
Pretty much. I feel bad for you. All you get is "Oh, Danny boy."
Danny boy, Danny,
Dan the man.
Dan the man.
Oof.
Which that's so overdone.
Dan Tom May.
That's a new one because my last name is Thomas, and I kind of came up with that one.
Dan Tom May.
That's a good one.
Wasn't your school email like D Mayo?
DMayo1. And you know what's funny? I still use that kind of name for like several different accounts. I'm not going to tell you which ones for security and other purposes.
We're gonna have to do some digging. I'm doing the Mr. Burns hands right now for
boy.
those people at home.
Oh boy. Oh
no. How about we Dan just gave me a subtle hint to transition beautifully into what we are drinking. That sounded nice in my headphones.
That was a nice pop. I also have a rule since I just got this new laptop, and I want to keep it as pristine as possible. No eating or drinking near it, or
True.
like as far away as possible. It's like, because my last laptop, I had it for 7 years, and I want to keep this one for at least 7 years. It probably won't last 7 years because Apple makes nothing but crap now that they make you buy new crap. But that's every company.
Capitalism, baby.
Capitalism is great. We live in a capitalist society.
Consume. I think that was a very long way of saying that because Dan can't eat or drink around his laptop anymore, the pack you run is done. We're packing it in. Good night, folks.
Yeah,
goodbye
I know
forever.
Yep, I know that we gave you a State of the Union last week. Well,
the union has crumbled.
Anyways, I will get into what I am drinking. So since I am partaking in dry January, because I feel like, especially around the holidays, I tend to drink every single day, and it's bad.
In excess.
So I am drinking Athletic Brewing Upside Down Dawn non-alcoholic beer.
Wow.
And, it's not bad. If you're looking for something to, drink after a long day and you don't want to have the alcohol, have one of those guys. Not too bad.
That sounds like a decent recommendation. I think this is the first time ever we're making Packy Run history right now. I'm not drinking anything.
Ooh.
It's getting spicy up in here.
Okay. Guys, this is my announcement. AJ has quit the podcast. This is now my podcast.
This is the last episode, and now every episode from now on is just going to be a monologue by Dan for an hour. I'm going to continue to tune in every week to just take a deep dive into the depths of this man's mind.
That's what it's going to be about at this point.
That wouldn't be the worst pivot in the world. I don't have anything. And I spent my entire morning just going back and forth between coffee and water. And the coffee wasn't that good. I'm sorry. I don't know if Sandifer listens to this, but Ashley, I'm sorry. Your choice in coffee is trash. Cafe Bustelo, it ain't it, chief.
Cafe Ushito.
God damn it. That was such a stretch.
That's the joke.
I hate it.
That's the joke.
Thanks. I hate it. Yeah, it's been coffee and water all day. But I'm about to embark on 2 days off from work. So I'm sure that at some point I will be listening to the same 30 songs that you hear every day in Nashville, and in all likelihood drinking a PBR or maybe a Sam Adams. Bowie's, please sponsor us. I'm gonna show this to Michelle.
Rock me, mama, any way that you will. Rock me, mama, like a southbound train. Hey, mama, rock me.
This is madness.
This is already off the rails.
It's all right. It's a good test. It's a good test for the viewers viewers, because this is a video show, clearly. And speaking of audio and stuff, if we sound a little bit different, it's Dan's got a whole new little rig up there in Boston.
New rig. new digs, so that'll be cool. Or that's cool that I have it. Thanks, AJ.
Your was Dan's Christmas present. We're rocking the same microphone, different interfaces, but basically the same thing. It's professionalism. It's crisp. It's clear. We're a big boy show now.
Yes, and I got this nice little cable from Guitar Center.
I love me some XLR cables. I'm swimming in them right now.
Although I think my cable's a little too long because it's like 20 feet or 10 feet. I didn't realize, like, I was like, oh, I don't want 3 feet. That's a little too short.
But see, now you can achieve the podcaster's dream. You have enough space where all you have to do is set up the FaceTime and then hit record and go lay in your bed and do the podcast from a laying down position. There's a word for that, and I don't remember what it is. So
I mean, sounds good, but no, like,
yeah, laziness is not really the Dan Mayotte style, is it?
I mean, I wouldn't call myself lazy. I'm definitely procrastinator and a time waster.
I am time ignorant, which is why the worst decision I made in the past 2 years was downloading the TikTok app to my phone. Because there are entirely too many times where I will sit down and I will start scrolling and I will look up and be like, where the hell did 2 hours go?
That's been my life for the past couple weeks. There's one
How
that
did I get here?
Right. And then you get into like weird subgroups that you're like, oh, that's really interesting. And you never thought it would be interesting, but yet you just end up there. Like stripper TikTok or dentist TikTok or whatever other TikTok communities there are.
So dentist TikTok is a conspiracy. And that is because our good friend Justin is a dental hygienist. So TikTok is taking all of our information and they know that he is one of our close friends. And so they try to push that on us. But I will not be had in this way. I will not be manipulated by the powers that be.
Justin, if you're listening to this, if you just want me to brush my teeth some more, just send me a text, buddy.
You just got to make a phone call. You don't have to be working the system like this.
Yeah, like come on.
We're both very I think we're both a little bit beyond the, subliminal messaging. You can just give us a call, man.
Yeah. Come on.
Just craziness.
All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes that we usually talk about.
I think we've gone this far off the rails already because we've been putting off just the sheer disappointment that we both feel.
Patriots, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
I can't say I'm surprised.
Oh, me neither.
We've been saying it for a while. I think pretty much any time we talked about this particular game, we were saying it. Patriots going down to Miami late in the season, every year, it turns into a shit show. I don't know what it is that leaves this team so bum-fuzzled, but it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all.
No, it wasn't. And I mean, there was a late game surge. Like, we did make a late surge in this one, but just wasn't good enough.
And that's been kind of the story of this season, is anytime we're playing from behind, it's still kind of, it's the Patriots that we know and love. They make halftime adjustments, and the second halves of, I would argue, most of the games this season were objectively better than the first halves. But man, if we're behind, we just can't seem to overcome it.
No way. And I mean, Mac is just not. We can't rely on him to throw the ball. Not yet, anyways.
Yeah, I'm a little of two minds about that. Like, I think to your point, and probably most importantly, he's a rookie, and he spent a lot of this season not looking like a rookie. But he picks the absolute worst possible times to show that, oh yeah, this is only the 18th game you've played in the NFL. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Miami goes down the field to begin with. I mean, already down by 7. And then very next drive, pick 6.
I was
That was I was like, we're not winning this game. After that, I was like, we're not winning this. There's no way.
I was at work and I had one headphone in and I was listening to the Gamecast, and I got caught up in some like interaction or whatever, and the next thing I knew, I was back at my desk and I looked down at my phone and I was like, hold on. This game has only been on for 10, 15 minutes. Like,
right.
And that's not game clock time. That's like real time. Within 15 minutes, it went from the beginning of the game to 14-0. And it was like, yeah, I had a very similar thought where it was like, okay, this is not going to go our way, I don't think.
No. And, Miami, they won that game in every way.
Yep.
Even if we did end up coming back and winning it at the very end, which, this game is closer than the score indicates. It's 33-24, but that last touchdown was only because of a really bad lateral pass when we got the punt on like the 2-yard line.
A truly horrendous lateral pass.
Yeah. At that point, it was like there was no chance of us really pulling it out.
No. And there were a couple of chances when it was coming down to the wire in the fourth quarter. We orchestrated a couple of things, but as much as people keep talking about Mac Jones as the baby goat, like, he's not there yet. And I think that's one, asking too much of him, 2, asking too much of the offensive personnel that we have like out on the field, and 3, I'm kind of back in the Josh McDaniels hatred quarter. Like,
I am all for throwing Josh McDaniels under the bus. Like, I'm usually front and center on that bus. I am on that bandwagon. I love to throw him under the bus, but he's not the reason we lost. He's not the reason.
He's definitely not the reason that we lost this game.
We had 8 penalties in this game. A lot of, honestly, bullshit calls against us, if we're going to be real.
Yep.
There was a lot of ref ball and a lot of calls that just didn't go our way. Like, there was that call where Bolden supposedly unnecessary roughness on the kicker when he was running and like it was stopped short of the first down and didn't hit him in the helmet. It was like a bang play, but that was a key play that didn't go our way. That was a blown call.
And I don't even agree that it was a bang play because Bolden never touched him.
No, he didn't.
He literally sailed over the guy. There was no contact, and he got a roughing the kicker, roughing the passer.
Yeah, like that was
what the hell.
That was a key play. That was terrible. I think there was another like couple pass interference and another 8 penalties for 78 yards. Like, that's a lot of yards for the Patriots team, and like we looked undisciplined out there.
Yep.
We didn't deserve that to win that game. There was no way. We had 3 turnovers and 8 penalties. That's the story of the game.
That's all it takes. So it was, it was a bummer, but not necessarily surprising. And also, I guess in the long run, kind of small potatoes, because we're still in the playoffs. We're playing Buffalo on Saturday. It's checking expectations, and it was, this game was a really nice way. I think for us personally, but also just like Boston sports media to kind of like take it down a peg.
Yeah.
Like we're in the playoffs 2 years removed from Brady leaving the team. Yeah. We've got a rookie quarterback that led us there, which is exceedingly rare. We've had a couple of stretches and a couple of flashes of like, oh, okay, like this kid could be something special. This team can be special when they're not playing against themselves. There's room for hope, and we've already exceeded expectations. So I think this Buffalo game is going to be a barn burner for sure. I think they're gonna play this really, really hard.
Okay. I think before we get into our talk about that game, like in depth, let's talk about the rest of like last week. I remember last week I mentioned the Chargers and Raiders game was going to be a good game and you better watch out for it. It didn't disappoint.
It did not disappoint.
That was one of the weirdest games of the year. And God, well, first up, let's set the scene, because there's an important player in this that we mentioned last week, that the Colts were going to face the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they were most likely going to be in the playoffs. So they lost to Jacksonville, which, I mean, how do you lose to that team? Their fans showed up to the stadium wearing clown makeup because it's a clown of an organization.
Yeah, just every part of that game was just confusing.
Right. And then the Steelers, who had probably the most outside shot of making the playoffs, they just needed either the Chargers or the Raiders to win, and they're in as well. So the Chargers and Raiders could have both just punted the whole game away, tied, and kept the Steelers out.
I will admit that I am disappointed that didn't happen.
Well, you want to know what's very funny? So at the end of that game, like the Raiders and Chargers game, by the way, that game went to overtime. Raiders kicked a field goal. They went on to go to the playoffs along with the Steelers. But before they kicked the field goal, the Chargers decided to call a timeout. And apparently, before that, Derek Carr, as well as the head coach of the Raiders, were considering just kneeling down and tying, letting them both be in the playoffs. And then, the head coach of the Chargers decided to be a little too aggressive, and that's why they kicked it, just out of pure pettiness.
Yep. I really do think, based on some of the conversations that were had, some of the post-game interviews and stuff, I think if the Chargers had not called that timeout, it would have ended in a tie game. My friend Sarah would have come to my house and murdered me because she's a huge Big Ben and a huge Steelers fan. And I was roasting her all night like, oof, you better watch this game. Your fate is in their hands. What if it happens? And yeah, if the Chargers had not called that timeout, I bet that's what would have happened. I bet the Raiders would have knelt, and they both would have gone to the playoffs, and Big Ben's career would be over.
Right. But I mean, I guess I get the argument that they're divisional rivals, and I think if we were put in the situation of if we were facing the Bills that week, whoever wins that game goes to the playoffs, and some other team goes to the playoffs. But if you tie, you both go in. I wouldn't want to see the Bills in there. I'd want to win that game. Yeah,
that's true. And I think that's part of the reason why it was smart, overall on the Raiders' part, to go for it. Because the Chargers are a good team, and Justin Herbert, he's nothing really to scoff at. That's a decent football team there. So
no, for sure. But let's get into our matchup. Let's get into Patriots and Bills.
We have a Saturday game in the playoffs, and we have Monday games in the playoffs. What is happening?
Well, there's been Saturday games before. I remember back in the day, the Patriots playing Saturday playoff games before. So pretty common. But this is going to be an interesting game.
It's for all the marbles.
It's the trilogy, the end of the trilogy for at least this year.
For this season, it is the end. And you know what? For this game, I am hopeful. If we win, we really gotta temper expectations for the next round, right? But I think we came in and we embarrassed the Bills on their home turf, and then they came back to Gillette with a vengeance, and really kind of just, they sucker punched us. And I think it's one of those equal and opposite reaction kind of deals where I think there's a decent chance that we go to Orchard Park and we do the exact same to them, just out of spite.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, and, obviously I always want the Patriots to win. I always want them to be in a winning position, but I am picking against them this week.
You don't think they can pull it?
I don't think they can pull it. I think Buffalo is the better team at this point. And you can call me a bandwagon. You can call me not a true fan. From the past couple weeks that this team has showed, I just don't see it.
Yeah, I
And I mean, grant you, last week Hightower was out, like Duggar was out. So those are two big losses for that defense. Key contributors. If everyone is healthy and we're able to get the run game going, and I mean, I need Josh McDaniels to call a good game, and I need Mac to make his throws.
Yeah.
And I don't know at this point if I truly believe in this team quite yet. They're like a year away.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the biggest takeaway, especially in the event that we lose. The biggest thing is going to be, all right, there's a couple of key places where we need help, and we need Mac to avoid the sophomore slump, first of all. But I think I'm not super concerned about that, though. I think he's gonna come back in his second year with a lot more kind of understanding of what's going on and where he needs to be working during this off season. So
no, for sure.
I think we're headed in the right direction. We're not quite there yet. And again, that's what we were talking about at the beginning of this. Like that's all fine when we're sitting back and looking at the position we're in right now and realizing that, oh, okay, we are exceeding expectations.
Right. Like, I mean, going to this season, I thought this is a 10-7 team. You know, I proved to be kind of accurate on that one. So pat on the back.
There you go.
And a wild card football team.
Look where we are.
And I mean, if we win out against Buffalo, I don't see us making it out of the divisional.
Yeah, there's too many teams that are just better from top to bottom and in all three phases of the game. Like we've been really undisciplined and just kind of all over the place for a lot of this season, and we haven't quite buttoned it up yet. So
no. But obviously I hope the Patriots win. That's what I want more than any, as like a fan, but as someone who's giving an analysis of this team, I just don't see it. I see the Bills winning.
I think if you look at this matchup and you don't think that Buffalo's the better overall team, you're probably just lying to yourself.
Like, I was really hoping to not face Buffalo this week.
Yeah.
I wanted to face the Bengals because they're the Bungles.
Yep.
You know, like, I thought it would have been at least a little bit of an easier time.
But it was not to be.
No, not to be. And I mean, what other games do we have this week? We have the Las Vegas Raiders and the Cincinnati Bengals. Also, by the way, did you know that tickets for the Patriots and Buffalo game are as low as like $25?
I saw that, and if, that's a steal.
Especially for a playoff game, but also you're in Buffalo in January.
Yeah, that doesn't really scream good time to me.
Like, you're going to have a bad time.
It's just gonna and I like the cold, but I don't think I like the cold that much.
For sure. And then we have Philly with Tampa Bay, San Francisco versus Dallas, Pittsburgh Steelers versus Kansas City, probably Big Ben's last game. More than likely. And then we have a Monday night matchup of Arizona with the Los Angeles Rams. Who do we got in the Vegas-Cincinnati game? It would be very fun and interesting if Las Vegas won that game, just based off of the season that they had, and especially like last week's game.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Las Vegas win that. I think they've, like, to use a Patriots term, like, they've shown a lot of mental toughness going through this season. Like, there were so many things went wrong and they still managed to, make it to the playoffs. Like, I thought for sure after all of the John Gruden everything, I thought that they were done this season.
Yeah, like, that would have been like the perfect time to just tank, or like to fall apart.
Yeah.
Not just tank. Patriots and Buffalo. I pick Buffalo in that game.
Like I said, I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna say Patriots just because historically when they are are counted out or when they're going for a little bit of a revenge tour, they usually pull it out. So yeah, I think they pulled that one off, but I don't see us faring very well against pretty much any of the other teams that are in the playoffs with us. So I'd like to see a spite victory from Buffalo, and that'll probably serve as the cherry on top of this season.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Philly versus Tampa Bay. I'm picking Tampa Bay in that game.
Yeah, you got to pick Tampa Bay for that game. I mean, Philly was a joke when they won the Super Bowl, and they've been a joke since they won the Super Bowl. So,
although I like Jalen Hurts, I like their quarterback a lot. He seems like a really good guy.
Yeah, he seems perfectly fine. I think it's just like that matchup on paper is just a no-brainer. Tom goes there. Yeah.
San Francisco and the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of a classic 90s matchup.
Yeah. And I mean,
I'm thinking Dallas in this one.
Yeah, I think Dallas. I think San Francisco has just seemed like kind of a mess this season. They're weirdly still holding on a little bit too close to Jimmy G. Even though I think, especially this season, he's just kind of proved that, he's a good quarterback, and, he's done consistently well for that team when he's healthy, but he's there's nothing about San Francisco that's making me think, wow. And, Dak's a serious quarterback, and the Cowboys have been pretty good this season. So I think even if you just look at the quarterback matchup there, you got to go Dallas.
Yeah. And I mean, Micah Parsons, the Dallas rookie, he's been playing out of his mind. I mean,
yeah,
like 11 sacks I think he had 11 sacks through like 15 games or something ridiculous like that. It's been playing great.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh versus Kansas City. Kansas City is winning that game. Like,
yeah,
Big Ben is. I want to emphasize this really quick. Just how bad this stat line is. His final home game of the year: 24 passes to 46 attempts. Now, you would probably think, oh, wow, he must have thrown it for like at least 300 yards or like a lot of yards. Oh, no. 123 yards passing, 2.7 average.
That's garbage.
1 touchdown, 1 pick, 2 sacks for a QBR of 13.2 for a 56.3 rating. Not that the Steelers are, playing this at home, but God, I don't trust them. I mean, Big Ben is not, he was a good player for who he was. Like, I'll give him that. Like, I'm not going to mention the off-field stuff. I think
it's been covered.
And he's not a good person off the field. On the field, he did his thing. He was fine. He's a Hall of Famer. But it's the time to hang up.
Yeah.
So
it's a little bit past the time to hang it up.
Yep. At this point.
It's not happening. It's not there. Now, all that being said, just because I want Kansas City a little bit demoralized, I wouldn't mind if the Steelers pulled this one out, because I think the more Kansas City loses and the more their kind of stock goes down, the easier the road through the AFC looks for the Patriots. So, the Steelers are barreling towards a true rebuild. And if Kansas City is a little bit weakened going into next year, then I'm all for it. So if the Steelers pull it out, I'm not mad, but I think anybody with a couple of brain cells to rub together can figure out that Kansas City wins that game.
Yeah. That's a pipe dream, though. And
yeah.
I mean, the last time those teams faced each other, Chiefs blew them out.
Oh, yeah.
And then for the final matchup, we have Arizona versus the Los Angeles Rams.
I want Arizona to win that because I don't like the idea of like super teams.
I mean, yeah.
And I like the idea of Los Angeles spending all of this money and all of this time putting together, what on paper is a ridiculously talented roster, and then just watching them get the snot kicked out of them in the wild card round. I'm okay with that.
They have like a Madden franchise. Like a little kid would put this roster together on Madden.
Really, they really would. And Kyler Murray is like a legitimately impressive quarterback.
He's fun to watch.
He's insane to watch. He's shorter than you and I.
Yeah, he's a little short king. He's like 5'11". He's our height.
He looks so small out on that field. And he just he does the Mahomes thing where he can just wheel around and around and around and then pull off like these crazy throws where it's like, man, literally everybody else at the position has like 6 inches on you and they can't make some of those throws. Like, how?
He's an insane athlete. He was a number 1 draft pick in baseball in MLB.
Yeah.
For a reason. I mean, like, he's a very talented athlete. I think the Rams are going to pull it out, although I don't trust them. I think that game is kind of a wash. Either one of those teams I think can win, and I wouldn't be surprised if how it goes.
Yeah, I'm saying Cardinals because historically those Madden franchise style teams are like they're fun to theorize about, they're fun to play in the video games and stuff, but they don't usually function that well as a unit.
Yeah, well,
and I think an actual team that's kind of built from the ground up to be a team throughout the season. Something about that makes me feel like that's the better or the safer pick for that one. So my bet would be Arizona.
Gotcha. Well, who even knows if our picks will be correct? All of our picks could be wrong.
Can you imagine? One of us, can you imagine if one of us just completely shat the bed?
Well, like
wrong across the board. That
would be funny. I mean, like for a couple of these, we picked against each other.
Yeah.
So
we'll be texting all weekend, and I've got like I said, I've got tomorrow and Saturday off. So maybe during the Saturday games or something, or maybe even Sunday. I don't know. Maybe we hop onto Instagram Live or something and do something. Keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe we try and find some time.
For sure.
We talked about social media engagement. We gotta keep it up. We gotta keep the kids involved.
Yeah, we gotta talk the talk. To kind of give a little spoiler, but I'm not gonna give it away entirely because we still have to plan this episode out. We will have an award show after when the Patriots season ends. So whether it's at the end of next week or a couple weeks from now, we will have our first award show ever, and stay tuned for that.
Oh, speaking of Patriots seasons, the people at home probably have not seen or noticed, but Dan can see my face. The Patriots regular season came to an end, and I did decide to trim my beard. It was a Patriots season beard, and though the season continues, the regular season ended, and I have to wear a mask when I'm at work, and I'm tired of wearing a mask over a super, super long beard. So
I didn't know this at all. I didn't know that you were growing your beard out for the season.
The superstitious part of me says that I have screwed my home team. But the part of me that had to spend my entire morning walking around in a mask was very happy to not deal with all of that hair underneath it and having that weird dent under my chin. And so keep an eye out for that. I will fully accept blame if we lose to Buffalo. It is my fault for trimming the beard, and next season I will do better.
Yeah, you got to be better, man.
Listen, it's all about, change comes from within. That's what I'll stick with. God.
All right. Give me 1 second.
We're pausing the podcast because Dan sucks and he probably is off to the bathroom or something.
I'm back.
I was going to try and vamp, but whatever.
Nope, you're wrong.
It's fine.
Wrong. Okay.
Wrong.
Ooh. All right, let's get into some of our other topics.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of music talk to go over. The first thing that I wanted to talk about, I tweeted or maybe I put it on an Instagram story or something. I read somebody posted somewhere and used the term CD revival, like music CDs coming back. And I believe my exact words were, pack it in, folks, burn it all to the ground. We're done here. But it turns out that for the first time since 2004, CD sales have increased from one year to the next. And what the hell is up with that?
I mean, I remember, especially when I am driving in a car, I definitely listen to more CDs than trying to get like a Bluetooth like changer for my iPad or not iPad, iPod or phone. But I never buy. Here's the thing, though: I never buy brand new CDs. I always usually just go to the Savers and look at whatever they have there.
Yeah, I mean, this article that I was reading, like they wouldn't count things like that. Like this is brand new CDs that are being bought, and my question is, who the hell is doing that? Because so when we had, when you and I were kind of coming up, we came up during, the vinyl revival, and
Right.
that made total sense because you get the big album art. There was a big nostalgia factor to it. And then just the idea of like physical media makes sense in that format. You can argue about sound quality, although it seems like everybody that argues about sound quality in vinyl on the internet is using like Crossley record players and stuff, which is doing more harm than good.
Yeah.
But there's like a big tangible aspect. There's all the different colorways. There's so many reasons that vinyl made a comeback and has kind of remained. I mean, the bubble has kind of burst, and the production issues we've talked about on previous episodes with like that Adele album and stuff, that all checks out. That all makes sense. And vinyl is like actually a superior format as long as it's done well.
Yes.
People buying new CDs, people going to a store, or I assume a lot of it comes from like Amazon or whatever, people buying brand new CDs for albums that are coming out. It can't all be 20 somethings that just have like a CD changer in their car and need something to listen to. Who is buying the CDs?
Right. I mean, I don't know. And I didn't even know that a lot of bands released new CDs. Like I
Now see, that is one thought that has crossed my mind, and I didn't really believe it when I first heard it. But a few years ago on Off the Record, I think it was Off the Record. It might have been simpler. It was one of the Zach Zarillo podcasts, where Zach was talking about not his label Bad Timing Records. He was talking more about the bands that he managed, and he was saying that when bands are out on tour, especially lower mid tier, and bands that are just starting to like get onto a touring circuit, those having CDs they're a lot cheaper and a lot faster to make than vinyl. And if a kid comes up to a merch table with $5 in his hand, you can't buy a t-shirt, you can't buy whatever else, but you can get an album on CD for about $5 reasonably.
Yeah.
So he was talking about how it's actually a viable business solution for a lot of these bands to press their records and their EPs onto CDs for the merch table. That computes in my head. That makes sense. But it's still like, especially given the fact that for most of last year, tours weren't really happening the way that they used to. Bands and artists were not touring nearly as much as they would have in a, pre-COVID world. So were there enough shows and enough of those kind of situations where artists were selling CDs at the shows that they were able to play, and that's how this worked? Like, there's a disconnect in my mind about this, because like I can't picture the TikTok generation buying CDs. It doesn't make sense. And all the people that would be like old enough for CD nostalgia either pivoted to vinyl for their physical needs, or they all just use Spotify and Apple Music and they never think about that.
And I mean, like, maybe it is the physical element that people are missing. I mean, like, streaming is great and all, but it doesn't have that sort of connection like it does with like a physical release.
Looking at tiny album art on a screen is not the same as, holding it in your hand and having the lyrics in the booklet and all of the like graphic design things that go into that. And that, I mean, that's an aspect of it. That's definitely something that's in the pro column for CDs.
Right. I mean, it's like books. Like a lot of people have pivoted towards like Kindles and like other ways to read a book, but sometimes there's something about just turning actual physical pages that just feels better.
Oh God, the smell. New books and new vinyl records have the same smell. You open them up and like the printer ink that they use and stuff. That is gold.
It's great, but yeah, I mean, if the kids are liking it and enjoying it, by all means enjoy it. I'm not gonna be buying and collecting CDs. If I'm given a free CD, I will take it, but I will most likely never listen to it because one, I don't have a CD player on my computer, and two, I'll probably just take the Bandcamp download and use that, and then never listen to it.
I miss using Bandcamp so often. I actually about a month ago I did buy that SWAT demo on Bandcamp. That was $4 very well spent. And then had to download the files and put it into my iTunes and wait for my iCloud music library to sync so that I could listen to it on my phone instead of just using I don't want to switch out of the music app to go to the Bandcamp app to listen to the things I purchased. Like I want all my music in one place. But yeah, so I guess if there's anybody that listens to this that still actively goes out and buys CDs, hit us up and tell us why. Because
yeah,
I genuinely want to know.
Yeah, we would like to know why you prefer to listen to a CD over whatever other mediums that everyone else is doing.
Yeah, it remains wild to me. What is up next on the docket?
Anyways, what else should we discuss here about about some music news? We had Turnstile doing their Tiny Desk, which that was really cool to see. That's been
a thing that I've had like 6 separate conversations with 6 separate people about that Tiny Desk. We've talked. Turnstile has kind of been like the talk of the last few months of 2021, and it's bled over into this year. Like the album is incredible. It's good. It's, it almost goes without saying at this point. Everybody that I've shown it to has, if not outright like loved it, they've really respected it, and it's kind of opened them to like a genre of music that a lot of them probably wouldn't have listened to. So congrats to them. They just continue to get bigger and bigger. There was talks about them getting a Grammy nod at some point. I'm not sure. I haven't followed up on that, but still just crazy that a band that I personally just used to write off as like, oh, okay, another East Coast hardcore band, whatever. They've kind of gone above and beyond with Glow On. But they just did a Tiny Desk concert, or a Tiny Desk at home concert, because they're not doing the actual like Tiny Desk studio or whatever.
Right.
So it's a little bit softer. It's not as intense as the actual recordings or, their live sets and whatever. But the Tiny Desk was filmed by Sonny, who operates Hate56, which is a YouTube channel. He does live sets. He covers festivals. He's all over the country all the time. I think last year he filmed 700 sets for different bands. Something obnoxious, like crazy big like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's huge. One of the coolest things that he did, it was during especially the first lockdown of the venue, or of the country back at the beginning. Code Orange came out with a new record, and he recorded the stream for that for Twitch.
Yeah,
it was one of the biggest streams it was one of the coolest concerts, and it kind of showed in like, okay, maybe there is a thing that maybe there is a way that to do concerts at home and make this a viable thing and kind of open the door to like other people doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, that was one of the first like live sets that came out when everybody was kind of locked down. And he I don't even know how to really like describe it well because I'm not that good with cinematography. But they're like you can tell that he knows how to shoot, like how to position the camera, how to move, how to just how to shoot like hardcore bands, because there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of things going on. He has a great eye for that kind of thing. And that was probably the coolest part about the Tiny Desk show, was watching that video and being like, half of the band was seated and then a couple of the guys were standing up, and they were all pretty much like, they had their own little corners and they don't move around a lot, but they were like, the camera was still doing a lot of work in conveying like the energy of those songs. And if you haven't seen it, you gotta sit down and watch. It's a real treat. It sounds awesome. It's shot really well, and it just continues to be impressive that band is doing as well as they're doing right now. And it's not really surprising, because again, the album is just fantastic.
It is fantastic. And I remember in 2015 when they came out with Nonstop Feeling, when that dropped. I've been following Turnstile their whole career essentially. I remember listening to that album and I'm like, this band is going to be huge. There was something about them that I just had an inkling about. And with this record, I was like, there's something about this record. It's going to be huge. It's going to blow up. Like, everyone is going to like this album. Like, I was following it from the first single that came out. Like, great record, great band, great Tiny Desk that you have to watch.
Yeah, it's super impressive, and it's cool. It's cool to see Turnstile doing that kind of stuff. And it's also, Sonny posts a lot on Twitter and Instagram about like metrics and some of that kind of stuff when it comes to Hate 56.
You're good. I was just testing something.
He posts a lot of those like kind of metrics and that kind of deal. It's cool to see the engagement that he gets, especially off the back of this Turnstile kind of stuff. And I forget who posted the article, but there's been a couple of articles in the past couple of years about some of the like artificial intelligence work that he's implemented into his video editing, the Patreon that he has, where people can go and vote on what sets they want him to release when he does like festivals, or he'll find like old VHS tapes from bands that, you know, were recorded back in the 80s and 90s that he goes and restores and does like audio work on. It's like, if you're not watching Hate 56 and you're into, I mean, it's mostly punk and hardcore, but if you're into any kind of like alternative or like punk adjacent kind of music, you got to be subscribing to Hate 56. That dude is ridiculously cool and well spoken and just does an awesome job at everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. All right. We're going to finish it up with maybe some predictions on what we see from guitar music this year. And I mean, right now it's kind of a blank slate. We don't really know every band what they're going to put out, but what kind of sounds do we think we're going to expect based on like last year?
Yeah, I think that just based on like what we've just been talking about with Turnstile, I think that a band like them putting out an album like they put out really kind of opens the door for especially hardcore adjacent bands to try and do something other than just like mosh parts. You know, there's been this trend for a little bit now. So if anybody listening remembers the wave, right? Like screamo revival, emo revival kind of stuff.
Right.
Those bands almost all of those bands started as really aggressive, really abrasive kind of sounds. And then over time, you know, the two best examples I think would be Touche Amore and Pianos Become the Teeth, where they started as straight up screamo bands. And they now have like not necessarily pop choruses. They're not doing the like good cop, bad cop vocals or whatever. But they incorporate way more melody and like spacey, reverby, chorusy kind of like post-rock effects and stuff like that. That was a natural progression for them. Something that's more traditional hardcore like Turnstile, them putting out an album like Glow On, where there's polyrhythms and there's 80s synth sounds and there's a lot of pop songwriting and melody in an album like that. I think that's they kind of set the bar for bands like that. And I think we're going to start to see a lot of copycats in that kind of space. And not necessarily copycats in like a negative way. I think a lot of bands are going to take a look at Turnstile and be like, oh, I can incorporate these other influences to something that still is, heavy and moshy and works in a hardcore context. I think Turnstile kind of like reset the clock on that, and we're going to see more of that going forward.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at some of my favorite hardcore records of all time, those hardcore records, in a way, are no different than pop songs. And let me explain that. Like, for example, The Things We Carry by Half Heart, one of the greatest hardcore records of all time. What carries that record and makes it good are the hooks. Any good pop song has a good hook as well. The chorus, anything, like the beat, the bass or whatever. That hook, like in some of those like Half Heart songs, carries it. And that's like the same thing that Turnstile has done as well. Those hooks carry it to be, it's still hardcore in the traditional sense, but it still has those pop parts.
Yeah, I think the hooks is a great way of putting it. Like, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more hooks in that kind of section of music. And I think that that's going to go a long way towards bringing some new people in and keeping like that scene kind of viable. And I also think, and we've kind of touched on this on previous episodes as well, I think the success that we're seeing from like all of the stuff that's being Travis Barker produced right now. I mean, a lot of that is, you can't argue that it's guitar-based music, because it is. Like, all of the stuff that he's producing.
Sure. It is guitar music.
It's guitar music. It's, it's bleeding over. It's bleeding over with the trap and kind of the SoundCloud rap kind of sounds, which is something that's been happening, I mean, since you and I were in college. I mean, all of the emo rappers, the people like Fantasy Camp and Wiccaface Springs Eternal, some of the work that John Simmons from Balance and Composure did, like all of that kind of stuff was groundwork. And then 2 years ago, you get that Machine Gun Kelly album that everybody like kind of caught everybody by surprise. And now you have the Olivia Rodrigos and everything else. And man, I got to say that so much of that stuff just does not hit home for me. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of it.
I mean, it doesn't hit home for me either, but let the kids enjoy it.
Yeah, let the kids enjoy what they enjoy. And I mean, there's a reason why a lot of that stuff is like on the radio and back on the charts, and guitars are on the radio again. Like that's a win, period.
Yeah. And I mean, that opens the book up for like several other bands who, we're into as well. Like this is good for Heart Attack Man, or good for Hot Mulligan, or any of those other bands.
Yeah, especially those bands that have been, writing really solid songs for a long time, but the sound that they were using, like a 4-piece pop punk emo band, like that hasn't been in style for a while. That's been, it's been its own scene, and that scene has continued to be a thing. And we saw it kind of bubble up with a lot of the emo revival stuff, but that was never really reaching a mainstream audience, except for every once in a while that something would poke through, thanks to like getting a 6.8 on Pitchfork or something. Which I think we're going to see a ton of that too. I think that we're kind of seeing a little bit of a rise in, we're seeing a rise in the overall output of like guitar-based music, which is cool. And I think that we're in a period very similar to the late 90s, where like the Nirvana, the grunge kind of craze had died down. Hip hop was really, really starting to become the big thing. And then you kept seeing, you know, some of the pop stars were doing a lot of kind of rock-ish sounds on these big pop records. There are guitars all over the, you know, the boy band records and things like that. And then next thing you know, you've got like 4 hardcore kids from Chicago that name a band after a Simpsons character, and now you've got, you know, Fall Out Boy and My Chemical Romance and stuff were dominating radio play. I think we're in kind of a similar time right now where you're seeing a lot of this kind of hip hop, emo, pop, rock crossover kind of stuff. And I think within the next couple of years, we're probably going to see like, and who knows, maybe it's Turnstile because the songwriting is so good and the production is so good and everything is just like, it seems like perfectly timed. But I think we're gonna see a little bit of the hardcore and punk scene that we've been paying attention to for 10, 15 years now. I think we're gonna see that pop back up for a little bit and be like the next big thing, hopefully, for a little bit.
Yeah. A band I want people to look out for this year, and I think they're putting out a new record this year, and this isn't particularly my flavor of hardcore, but I think Vane is going to take a huge step forward with their album coming out. It's that sludgy, like if I had to put a bigger name to them, like that you would probably, if you like this, you would probably be into that, like into Vane. Probably like Code Orange and Slipknot. If you're into those 2 bands, you would probably like Vane.
Right.
And they put out a single, and I think it's, from what it sounds like, I'm like, this is going to be huge.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye out on this new Drug Church LP, Hygiene, that's coming out. Their vocalist Patrick his lyrics, and especially his like the characters that he plays on his multiple podcasts, I think are a little bit too political and abrasive to reach that broader audience as a whole. But the sound of that band is that like hardcore adjacent, like pop songwriting, melodic but still aggressive kind of combination that I think this next LP is going to be huge for them. Not necessarily in a mainstream success way, but I think it's going to reach a mass of people that would not necessarily listen to something like that. So that's my kind of like keep an eye out on this band for this year.
I just want to make this one point. Like the people, a lot of people make the point of they won't like a certain pop song because like let's take like a Taylor Swift song. They don't like the original, but they love like a punk or metal cover of it or a hardcore cover of it. And the reason you like it is because it's just in sense a good song. It's good songwriting to begin with. That's why it's good. And maybe it's well done like in a punk and hardcore sense, but it's still in the essence a good song.
Yeah.
Pop songwriting is fantastic. And, you know, if that makes me a normie, which I've already been called that by Sean.
You called yourself that. That's why your name is Dan the Normie on the Discord.
Well,
I will set the record straight.
Well, then I guess that's just who I am. I am.
He's old man Dan. He's become a normie in his old age.
One record I am excited for this year is the new Wonder Years album. They're coming out with a new album this year, so I'm excited for that coming out. I'm also excited for the Wonder Years doing a 10-year anniversary tour of both the Upsides and Suburbia. I've given you all, and now I'm nothing. So I'm excited for the Wonder Years this year.
Who's shocked by this?
I can't wait to be 17 again, and that's gonna be a good time.
I've been asked to go to their show in Nashville, and I think that's probably going to end up happening. So I will. It'll be my first time seeing them. I am kind of excited about that. Not my favorite band, but when they hit hard. And a lot of the stuff that hits hard for me from that band comes from those 2 records. So yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think those are the 2 best albums in their discography. The best one is Greatest Generation, but you know what? I'll take the Upsides and Suburbia because I remember when the Upsides came out. Like I found them literally the month that they came out with that, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is great. This is awesome."
Right in your alleyway.
Yep. Oh, yep. I'm surprised I'm surprised we haven't gone through those records yet.
We probably will by the end of the year.
We probably will at the end of this year or before then. Yeah. But that's going to be 100% biased from me.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna wax poetic the entire time we talk about that. I already know.
I'm gonna be so easily biased there.
Yep, I believe it. So yeah, I think that about covers what we wanted to cover. What we wanted to cover for today's episode. I'm happy that we got 2 episodes in 2 weeks, kicking off the new year strong. Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
Consistency, baby. One thing the Patriots are not.
Yeah. Oh God. That might be the issue. Did we steal the consistency from the Patriots? Is that what we did?
No, we didn't. Their thing is like, do your job.
This isn't our job yet. And with the help of our fine listeners, it could be though.
Maybe someday.
Maybe eventually. We can just talk for a living.
Yeah. Just bullshit.
Just bullshit and get paid for it. That's the dream.
Recommendations. What do we got?
Recommendations. I
have one.
Go for it.
So over the weekend, I saw The Disaster Artist for the first time.
Oh, really?
And it's about the making of The Room, the greatest bad movie of all time. And, for a while, Justine was trying to get me to see The Room. And for a while, I always brushed it. I was like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to watch it. And finally, one night, we went to the Brookline Theater for a midnight screening. Because let me say this. The only way to watch The Room is it has to be a midnight screening. You cannot just be at home watching it. It's not fun.
Yeah.
You gotta go to the midnight screening where it's by far the funnest movie experience I've ever had in my life.
All right.
Like people throw spoons, people are yelling and cursing the whole time. Like it's great. It's awesome. Like you have to do it. So I saw the making of it with James Franco. It had Seth Rogen in it. Like Zac Efron was in it. Star-studded cast. It was a fantastic cast. Definitely watch it. It is hilarious. And go to a midnight screening of The Room in your local city or town because you won't be disappointed. It's a terrible movie, but the people watching it make it a great experience.
Yeah, the theater, it's like a millennial Rocky Horror, but worse.
Essentially.
But so much worse. Yeah, The Room is fun. Watching it with other people is the only way to watch it. And I haven't seen The Disaster Artist yet, but it's on the list. I do want to I don't know why I didn't see it when it was in theaters because I remember being super interested. That was back when Birth Movies Death was a thing. That used to be one of my favorite websites of all time, and it no longer exists, which makes me sad. Anyway, my recommendation is there's an upcoming album by the band Anxious called Tiny Greenhouse or Little Greenhouse. Yeah, Little Greenhouse by Anxious. Surprise, surprise, it's coming out on Run for Cover Records, which makes total sense.
Title Fight Worship.
Literally, like I miss Title Fight so much. I miss the hype around them putting out new music. I'm so glad that I got to see them live a few times. I still haven't seen Glitterer, but apparently Ned still like gives it his all on stage, which is awesome. But Title Fight was just that youth crew, just about hardcore sound, and then even when they got into more of the spacier kind of sounds, just I love that band's entire discography. Great band. We did an episode about two of their EPs, kind of comparing and contrasting. So go back through and listen to that because that's a great episode. But yeah, this band Anxious, they're about to put out an album called Little Greenhouse. There's 3 songs out now. One of them has Pat Flynn from Have Heart and Fiddlehead, which again makes total sense with just that, like just this side of hardcore kind of sound that they're going for. And yeah, it sounds a lot like Title Fight, and that is very much needed in 2022. So go check out the full album when it comes out and look it up on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever and listen to the 3 songs that are out now because they're all great little punk jaunts.
There's also some members from One Step Closer in that band too. So
that I didn't know, but that One Step Closer LP, I know that you're not the biggest fan, but I really enjoy it. I've put that on a couple of times at work and just vibed.
I need to give it another chance because the first time I listened to it, I was like, I want to listen to Have Heart.
Yeah.
I remember I've seen that band a couple times, and I've remember checking them out like a long time ago before that album came out, but got to give it another chance, I guess.
Give it a shot. All right. You got anything else to add?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, we thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Packy Run Pod. Hopefully we'll be back next week. We'll compare schedules and post on social media when we know.
Yeah.
And yeah, like us, follow us, rate us, review us. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Packy Run Pod.
Packy Run Forever.
Packy Run Forever. That's
Bye-bye.
what a solid ending. Goodbye.